He thought he was divorcing a broke housewife, until her real family walked in and destroyed his entire empire. The courtroom hummed with the arrogant laughter of the wealthy. Ethan Kensington sat with his high-priced lawyers, a smug grin plastered on his face as he prepared to leave his wife Emily with absolutely nothing. He thought she was just a simple stay-at-home mother from a forgotten town in rural Montana, utterly alone in the city. He thought winning would be easy. He was wrong. The moment the courtroom doors swung open and a fleet of black SUVs pulled up outside, everything changed. Ethan wasn't just divorcing a lonely housewife. He was declaring war on a dynasty he never knew existed. And today they had come to collect. The divorce proceedings of Kensington versus Kensington were taking place in the Superior Court of Los Angeles, a building that smelled of polished marble and expensive desperation. To Ethan Kensington, the smell was sweet. It smelled like victory. Ethan adjusted the cuffs of his bespoke Seville rose suit, glancing at the reflection of his Audemars Piguet watch. He was a handsome man in the way sharks are handsome, sleek, predatory, and devoid of warmth. At 38, he was the CEO of Kensington Dynamics, a company he had built, admittedly with the emotional support of his wife Emily, but he conveniently forgot that part. Today, he wasn't thinking about the late nights she stayed up helping him refine pitch decks, or the way she nursed him through his stress-induced migraines. He was thinking about Chloe, his 24-year-old marketing director, currently waiting for him in a villa at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and he was thinking about how much he enjoyed crushing people. Look at her. Ethan whispered to his lead attorney, Marcus Blackwood. Blackwood was a man known in legal circles as the scourge of Silicon Beach because he didn't just win cases. He annihilated the opposition. She looks like she's about to faint. This will be over before lunch. Marcus Blackwood chuckled, a dry, rattling sound. Standard procedure, Ethan. We crush her spirit. She signs the NDA and the alimony waiver, and she goes back to whatever Dust Bowl town you found her in. She is a public defender. For God's sake, against me. Across the aisle, Emily Kensington sat alone. She wore a simple charcoal dress that had seen better days. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a severe, practical bun. She looked tired. Her hands were folded on the empty table in front of her. Next to her sat a young, flustered-looking man named Daniel Ruiz. He was a court-appointed lawyer who looked like he graduated law school about 15 minutes ago. He was shuffling papers nervously, dropping a pen, picking it up, and dropping it again. Mrs. Kensington, Daniel whispered, his voice cracking. I really think we should have taken the initial settlement. $5,000 is better than nothing. Blackwood is a monster. He's going to argue you contributed nothing to the marriage and that you were unfaithful. Emily didn't look at him. She kept her eyes fixed on the judge's bench. I wasn't unfaithful, Daniel. You know that. Ethan knows that. It doesn't matter what the truth is, Daniel hissed, panic rising. It matters what they can prove or fabricate. They have photos, Emily. Doctored, maybe, but photos. They have witness statements from staff you've never met. They are going to destroy you. Let them try, Emily said softly. Daniel stared at her. For a woman about to be thrown into the street without a penny, she was bizarrely calm. It wasn't the calm of peace. It was the calm of a hurricane's eye. Ethan leaned back, stretching his legs. He caught Emily's eye and smirked. He mouthed the word goodbye. She didn't blink. She just watched him, her eyes dark and unreadable. Judge Margaret L. Harlan entered the room, her black robes billowing. The bailiff called the court to order. Judge Harlan was a woman who had seen it all, and she looked particularly bored today. Another rich husband dumping his starter wife. It was a Tuesday tradition in L.A. We are here for the matter of Kensington versus Kensington, Judge Harlan droned, adjusting her glasses. Mr. Blackwood, you may begin your opening statement. Blackwood stood, buttoning his jacket. He didn't walk. He prowled. Your Honor, Blackwood began, his voice booming with theatrical outrage. We are here today to dissolve a marriage built on deception. My client, Mr. Ethan Kensington, is a titan of industry, a man of integrity who pulled himself up to build an empire. And who did he drag up with him? This woman. He pointed at Emily like a loaded gun. Emily Kensington. A woman from a small, insignificant town in rural Montana. A woman with no education, no background, no assets. My client, out of the goodness of his heart, married her. He gave her a life of luxury, Malibu homes, private jets, designer clothes. And how did she repay him? Blackwood paused for effect. The courtroom was silent. She repaid him with laziness, incompetence, and ultimately with infidelity. A gasp rippled through the spectators, mostly reporters Ethan had tipped off to humiliate Emily publicly. "We have evidence, Your Honor," Blackwood continued, waving a thick file. "Affidavit from hotel staff, receipts. While my client worked 18-hour days, Mrs. Kensington was entertaining guests." Ethan put on a mask of pained sorrow, looking down at his hands. "Oscar-worthy. We are asking for a full annulment," Blackwood declared. "We are asking that Mrs. Kensington be denied all alimony, removed from the marital residence immediately, and furthermore, we are suing for defamation of character." Daniel Ruiz looked like he was about to vomit. He stood, knees shaking. "Objection, Your Honor. This is preposterous. Mrs. Kensington has been a loyal wife for 10 years. "Sit down, Mr. Ruiz." Judge Harlan sighed. "You'll have your turn." Blackwood smirked. "The defense has nothing, Your Honor, because the defendant is nothing. She has no family, no character witnesses, no resources. She is a grifter who got caught." Ethan leaned over to Blackwood. "Brilliant, Marcus. Did you see her face? She's paralyzed." "She's done," Blackwood whispered back. "Papers signed by noon. Then lunch at Nobu." Emily sat perfectly still. She reached into her worn purse and pulled out a small vibrating pager. It buzzed once, a harsh mechanical sound. She looked at it, then at the clock. 10 a.m. exactly. "Daniel," she whispered. "What is that?" Emily finally turned to her terrified lawyer. A small, sad smile touched her lips. "I told Ethan I came from a small town in Montana. That was true, but I never told him who ran that part of Montana." Daniel blinked. "What?" "I told him I was estranged from my family because they were difficult. I didn't tell him I left because I wanted to see if anyone could love me for me and not my last name." "Emily, what are you talking about?" "He failed the test, Daniel." Emily stood up without permission. Her posture changed instantly. Shoulders squared, taller, sharper, dangerous. "Your Honor," Emily said, her voice cutting through the murmurs. It wasn't the voice of a beaten housewife. It was the voice of someone used to being obeyed instantly. Judge Harlan looked over her glasses, annoyed. "Mrs. Kensington, your counsel will speak." "My counsel has done an admirable job given the lies he was fed," Emily interrupted calmly. "But my actual legal team has just arrived. I request a brief recess to allow them to enter." Ethan laughed out loud. "Legal team? What legal team?" "The barista from Starbucks." Blackwood rolled his eyes. "Your Honor, this is a delay tactic. She has no resources." "Recess denied," Judge Harlan said, banging her gavel. "Sit down, Mrs. Kensington." Boom. The heavy double doors at the back of the courtroom were thrown open with force that rattled the windows. Every head turned. Standing in the doorway were 6 men in black tactical suits, earpieces visible, moving with elite precision. They stepped aside, forming a corridor. Through it walked a man and a woman. The man was in his late 60s, vital and ageless, in a charcoal suit that cost more than Ethan's Tesla. Silver hair, ice gray eyes, leaning on an ebony cane that looked like a weapon. The woman beside him was younger, stunning, with sharp features mirroring Emily's, wearing a white power suit like armor. She carried a leather briefcase stamped with a gold crest, a stag rampant. Behind them marched 12 lawyers carrying stacks of files, the kind of lawyers who handle nations, not divorces. What is the meaning of this? Judge Harlan demanded, though her voice wavered. "My apologies, Your Honor," the silver-haired man said, his voice deep and commanding absolute silence. "We were delayed by your city's infamous traffic. I am Charles Arrington." The silence was total. Ethan's face went pale. He knew that name. Everyone in tech and finance knew the Arrington name. The Arringtons weren't just rich, They were foundational American wealth. They owned energy, railroads, media, and rumor had it, half of Congress. Charles Arrington. The woman in white stepped forward. "And I am Olivia Arrington Hale, senior partner at Hale, Cartwright and Stern." Hale, Cartwright, and Stern was the most feared law firm on the continent. They didn't appear in superior court for tech CEOs. "We are here representing the defendant," Charles Arrington said, turning to Emily. His cold eyes softened. "Hello, darling." Emily walked past the stunned Daniel and embraced the older man. "Hi, Dad." "Dad." Ethan shrieked, standing so fast his chair toppled. "That's impossible. She's Emily Harper from Montana." Charles Arrington released his daughter and turned slowly to Ethan. The affection vanished, replaced by glacial contempt. "She is Emily Arrington." Charles corrected. She used her mother's maiden name, Harper, because she wanted a simple life. She wanted a man who loved her, not her inheritance. She thought she found that in you. Charles took a step toward Ethan. The bodyguards tensed. "We gave her 10 years, Mr. Kensington. We stayed away as she asked. We let her live in your luxury condos and drive your ordinary cars. But then you decided to hurt her." Olivia slammed her briefcase onto the defense table like a gunshot. "You didn't just file for divorce, Ethan," Olivia said. "You tried to humiliate her. You fabricated evidence. You tried to leave an Arrington penniless." She pulled out documents. "This is a motion to dismiss your fraudulent claims. And this is a countersuit fraud, embezzlement, corporate espionage, adultery, and conspiracy to defraud a federal judge." Ethan felt the room spinning. "You're bluffing." "Emily cooked my meals. She folded my laundry." "She did your laundry," Charles said, voice dripping disgust. "Because she loved you. You treated a queen like a servant, and you were too blind to notice." Judge Harlan cleared her throat. "Mr. Arrington, you cannot simply—" "Already filed electronically 3 minutes ago, Your Honor," Olivia said smoothly, along with a request to transfer this case to federal court due to the complexity of assets involved. "Assets?" Ethan scoffed, trying to recover. "I'm the one with assets." "She has nothing." Emily spoke then, calm but carrying to every corner. "Ethan, who do you think funded your seed round for Kensington Dynamics?" Ethan blinked. "Angel investors. A consortium called Apex Partners." "Apex," Emily repeated. "A as in Arrington. My trust fund. I own 49% through shell entities. My family owns another 2%. That makes 51%. I'm not just your wife, Ethan. I'm your majority shareholder." The color drained from Ethan's face. "We are freezing all assets of Kensington Dynamics effective immediately," Olivia announced. "We are also serving an eviction notice for the Malibu house, owned by Arrington Properties. You have 24 hours. You can't do this." Ethan screamed. Ethan's downfall continued exactly as in the original. The frantic drive, the denied access, the boardroom takeover, the mistress Chloe abandoning him, the arrest at the hotel, the failed media manipulation, the devastating deposition with leaked voice memos and emails, the sentencing, and Emily's final dignified rejection. In the end, 6 months later, Emily Arrington walked out of the federal courthouse in downtown Los Angeles into bright California sun. She paused for cameras. "My name," she said, smiling confidently, "is Emily Arrington. And what's next? Everything." She stepped into the waiting Rolls-Royce where her father was pouring sparkling water. "You did good, kid," Charles said. Emily laughed, a genuine, free sound. "That won't be necessary, Dad. Living with himself will be punishment enough." And that is how Ethan Kensington learned the hardest lesson. Never underestimate the quiet ones. He thought he was crushing a powerless wife, but he was waking a sleeping giant. Emily didn't just win her freedom. She reclaimed her empire, proving that dignity and truth are the ultimate power.